title. And a lot happening in the ACC with Clemson's huge loss last night against Syracuse. Georgia Tech deferring to the second half. This is Jeff Thomas on the kick return, and he's chopped down at the 17. Pretty good start. Let's see what kind of start he gets here today. Travis Homer, number 24 there in the backfield. You see on Skycam getting the start for the injured Mark Walton.
No more, go to bed.
Season-ending ankle surgery on Monday. 1st and 10 for Miami. Little run pass option. Rozier under duress. Loss of 12, Rod, on first down. 2nd down and 22 back at the 4. We'll see if Amon Richards is out there today. He was questionable before the game with a hamstring injury. He's one of their top receivers. This is Homer running it into the boundary. A nice gain out near the 50 with a pretty healthy average of almost 9 yards per rush. On 3rd and 11, Rozier. He gives the Canes a running option, but not enough room. Stewart back at his own 40-yard line for Georgia Tech. Eagles averaging about 39 yards per punt this year. Gets up a high spiral. Great hang time out of bounds at about the 41-yard line.
Back, and after injuries and the like, he's back at quarterback, and boy is he special.
Benson the lone back in this option attack. And a sack immediately on that. Ball at the 39-yard line. Miami down a couple of guys on defense in the secondary. Talk about that a little bit later. Marshall back to pass and sacked by Harris. His second one. Offense is built for.
What's going on, man? Everybody's going backwards.
They give it to the dive man, Benson. Braxton Berrios standing at his own 20-yard line for the Hurricanes. Presley Harvin set to punt for Georgia Tech. Returnable by Berrios. Makes a nice cut. And into Georgia Tech territory. One of the 3 receivers set up to the top of your screen. Had a big week last week in that win against Florida State with a couple of touchdown catches. Rozier out of the shotgun, has time, and incomplete at the 40.
Richards right now is on the bike on their bench. Berrios may be the prime target.
Yeah, you would guess they'll be leaning on him a lot, Q. 2nd and 10. This is Homer squaring those shoulders. Keeps those legs moving for the first down. Got a great. Gives Miami a 1st down and 10. That time, quarterback Rozier kept it himself. And
Out, their second leading rusher. Rick understands the importance of having his quarterback make some plays with his feet.
2nd down and 8. Mark Richt calling the plays on offense for the Hurricanes. Homer into the boundary, showing a nice burst to pick up another Miami. 3 and out, open the game. On the reverse, this is Thomas. And good close by Georgia. 2nd down and 5. Into the end zone, the fade. Incomplete.
Anything
for that memorable touchdown in the victory. Different situation today. 3rd and 5 for Miami. Into the end zone again. Incomplete again. Actually into attempt this field goal. He's 5 of 6 on the season. This one coming from 34 yards out. And he knocks it through. Hurricanes up 3-0. ABC. Utah heads into the Coliseum to take on number 13 USC. The game also streaming live on the ESPN app. See how Utah bounces back perhaps after losing against Stanford last week at home. From the 7-yard line, this is Cottrell. And he is met short of it for it by practicing at the Dolphins indoor facility. So finally back home and achieving a sense of normalcy for the Hurricanes. Toss into the boundary and a good gain here for Georgia
to try and take away that dive of the option play.
7.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. The toss to the other side. This is Clinton Lynch. And he picks Johnson. He calls the plays for Georgia Tech. There's another toss. Lynch with a good gain, and he gashes Miami. Lynch on the loose. Finally, 1st and 10 from the 17. They toss it into the boundary. This is Searcy. And a gain of about
secondary than the interior of this D-line.
Yeah, Q. Miami's so committed inside. Johnson's reacting to get to the edge.
They give it to the first man through. And close.
Got him guessing right now.
1st and goal. Marshall kept it himself. And he's tackled immediately by himself.
If he's disruptive, Georgia Tech will struggle inside.
2nd and goal. Marshall on the toss.
Review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
So Georgia Tech coming back. And Sean Davis, who's had issues this year with his place kicking, in for the extra point. And Georgia Tech taking a 7-3.
Heard all the talk too. Miami thinking it's their thing to roll with. Georgia Tech's like, we've not beaten these guys in a long time. They're motivated as well.
And they've come out and taken a 7-3 lead.
For 60 minutes, taking the dive, the quarterback keep, and the pitch. It can test any defense, both mentally and physically.
It's not fun. Not fun, Q. Not fun.
1st down and 10 from the 25. Rozier, the first-year starter, hands it on to the backup tailback. 2nd and 9. Malik Rozier with that huge comeback, big drive at the end of the game last week, and
Georgia Tech.
Got to stop from getting high on your own vapors, and it's tough to do when people are patting you on the back, like you said. 3rd down and 6. Taking a shot and incomplete. He was actually in the stands the last time Miami defeated Florida State back in 2009 as a young teenager corner. And back to the days when they dominated the college football landscape. 5 national championships. The Eagles going to try it again here. Stewart back at the 27. And nowhere to go, held up short of the 30. The starting quarterback, Taquan Marshall, was spectacular, albeit in defeat against the Vols. He hands it off this time. On the pitch to Cottrell, still on the loose. And another big gain.
Not allowing them to get out there and get to the quarterback or get to the pitch. Right now, the perimeter run game is really hurting Miami.
Yeah, they look like they've really deciphered something in Miami's defense. Handoff is to Benson. Broke a couple of tackles. Determined running by Benson all the way down to the 3rd. And you say the word cut. Cut block's a big part of today's game. 15-yard gain. Another 1st down. And another toss to the wide side of the field. That time slowed up and stopped. Searcy. And this Georgia Tech offense has gashed this Hurricane defense on several occasions. Marshall on the late toss. Searcy got a lane. And another good gain for or against it. They give it to the first man, the dive man. That's Benson. And Benson with another 1st down. Analytics guy, he's going by feel
He
here,
feels it. He sees it. He feels it. He just has a knack for it.
1st and goal. First man
runs in the first quarter, and they didn't have to think about throwing it.
piling up the yards on 2nd and goal here for Taquan Marshall at quarterback. Toss into the boundary. Green stopped up short of the end zone. It's going to be 3rd and goal for
run support. And when you're doing that, you got to deal with people trying to take your knees out all game. None of it's fun.
A lot of stuff going on. 3rd and goal. Marshall going to pass. Wide open. Room service. Touchdown.
Bothered by it. You saw the poise on that play. Distress all around him, kept his composure, and delivered the football.
Yeah, Paul Johnson says that he has not shrunk from the spotlight and the big moment. Hey, Rod, he must have heard us talk about the top 10. Hurricanes, number 11, under duress here. Jeff Thomas on the kickoff return. Hurricanes looking for a play. Rod, what was the key on that last? That's an easy one. Oh, it was actually against Miami. But still, in that kind of disjointed start for the Hurricanes. Rozier completes his first pass. Berrios, the ACC's receiver of the week, gets the first down, brought down by Victor Alexander. As I mentioned, the first completion by Malik Rozier. Talked about him getting a lot of congratulatory texts in wake of that Florida State victory. Heard from Ja'Cory Harris, former quarterback, and a lot of the greats here at Miami, like Gino Torretta.
You know, you just had a feeling this could be that kind of a week. Like the start.
Dos Equis tailgate week. And the home team down by 14-3 here in the second quarter. I'm Mark Jones alongside Rod Gilmore, chopping it up with Quint Kessenich down on the sidelines. The Canes a little bit rattled defensively. And right now, Malik Rozier at quarterback trying to bring them back. Rozier, the first-year starter, with his second completion of the game. That one to Jeff Thomas. Now, Rozier, Rod, when he...
Everybody's like, man, you're it. You got this going. And, you know, Georgia Tech comes to town focused.
Georgia Tech feels that they gave this one away last year to Miami. That's Travis Homer filling in for Mark Walton, who had surgery on Monday. Q?
Yeah, Jonesy, keep in mind for Rozier, this is only his 6th career start. And Georgia Tech and Ted Roof, their defensive coordinator, really focused on keeping him in the pocket, taking away his escapability and his freelance ability. And when you're Rozier today operating without Walton, without Amon Richards, there's some question marks to who your weapons are going to be. And so far, Chris Herndon, their tight end, has been quiet as well.
3rd and 1, and they're going to get enough for the first down. Homer with a tough run brought down by Simmons. And, you know, you think about the quarterbacks at the University of Miami, though. Kelly, Kosar, Testaverde, Erickson, Torretta, Dorsey, NFL guys, and then some.
Well, and Rozier has, in my view, that toughness of a Kosar, of a Torretta. You know, he can take a beating and hang in there. And follow up on Q's point, you know, talked about everything he's missing. He'll miss the football a lot today because Georgia Tech frustrates you by keeping it away from you.
They've got the edge in time of possession so far. Rozier on the out, off the mark, had his guy open, Mike Harley.
You know, all of those things that Q was talking about.
I haven't seen that energy from him today.
Rozier, growing up a University of Miami fan, kept it himself and picks up another first down, brought down by Lawrence Austin.
By a couple bad throws.
Homer got to the edge, still on his feet. And Homer down to the 20-yard line. First down, Miami. A.J. Gray making the tackle for Georgia Tech.
Yeah, freshman receiver Jeff Thomas with a great block in that second level, which opened up a huge lane for Homer. You'll see him coming your screen right there. Number 4 blocking 2 guys. And Homer uses it effectively to get to the edge.
Miami up at the line of scrimmage quickly. Rozier keeps it himself and slides safely and wisely at the 20-yard line. Something they didn't have last year. Quarterback with Brad Kaya. They've got a running threat with Malik Rozier. First-year starter. Kaya, a good buddy of his.
Yeah, he's one of the guys who texted Rozier this week and said, hey, got it rolling. You finally knocked off Florida State, something I couldn't do.
Trayon Gray in the backfield. 2nd and 10. Gray hurdles a tackler and brought down just shy of the 15-yard line. Picked up 5 on the play. Jordan Swilling and Alexander making the tackle for Georgia Tech.
You know, I think, and Q might agree with this might be the time and place on the field you would expect Miami to come in with their tall receivers. They've got a couple guys, 6'5", Q. They did not use down here last time.
Yeah, Langham now on the field, though. Number 81. This is the 10th play of the drive. Langham is split to the top of your screen. He comes back the other way. Rozier, incomplete. Intended for Mike Hart.
The other guy, Lawrence Cager, was actually having his knee brace taken off and then put back on. So he wasn't active in that series.
Yeah, Q, there's Richards on the sideline. Re-injured his hamstring last week in Tallahassee. This is Badgley in for another field goal attempt. Made one earlier from 33. This one from 32. The line drive is good, and Miami now trails by 8, 14. Taco Bell student section. Taco Bell is a proud partner of the College Football Playoff. Be on the lookout for Taco Bell student sections and passionate fans like these all season long. Fans here have been relatively quiet so far. Miami down 14-6. Cottrell on the return. Fumbled it. Ball came loose. And Georgia Tech recovered it. Number 80, Jalen Camp, was there to pounce on it for Georgia Tech. Remember, Georgia Tech had a couple of fumbles last year that really cost them. Back-to-back fumbles ended up in Miami Hurricane touchdowns, which prompted Paul Johnson, their head coach, to tell us this week he feels like they almost gift-wrapped it for him last year.
Oh, it was 14 free points.
Yeah.
And they lost by 14.
And Michael Pickney and Shaquille Quarterman scooping them up and scoring. 1st and 10 for Georgia Tech. Already with 138 yards on the ground. This is Benson. Gain of about 3 on the play. Just under 10 minutes to go here in the first half. Good news for Georgia Tech. Clinton Lynch is back in the ball game for them, Rod.
Yeah, that's good to see. You know, Jonesy, you were talking about the option and how difficult it is. You know, the worst thing about it?
What's that?
Cut blocking. And they cut everybody. Those linemen are going after everybody.
2nd and 7. Marshall tosses it. Searcy. And Rod, let's get back to that. You talk about cut blocks. Does it look like Georgia Tech is in Miami's head that way? Does it look like they're in Miami's head in terms of diving at their league?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, you just watch these guys dive. They're crawling almost to get at guys, knocking guys down on their legs and whatnot. Yeah, it's in your head because you want to protect your knees.
3rd and 2. Marshall hit, and it depends on the spot. It looked like he was stopped short of the first down. Shaquille Quarterman came in and made a big hit, and he's one of the guys that has to play well at linebacker for Miami.
Oh boy.
4th and short. They're going to go for it here.
Really? Not a fan.
Wow, from
Not a
their own
fan.
34-yard line.
You've been dominating this game. You've got momentum. You've really had them on their heels. This is a turnover if you don't get it, Jonesy. You give them a short field.
They're 4 or 5 on 4th downs this year. Play clock is going to expire.
Yeah, he thought better of it.
They call timeout. And we'll take a timeout right along with them and come right back after this. Georgia Tech leading Miami 14-6 as we continue coverage of the Dr. Pepper Championship Drive Game of the Week. 4th down and short coming up for the Yellow Jackets and head coach Paul Johnson.
He's going to go for it still, huh? I thought that timeout meant
You don't like
kick it
this
away.
move, huh?
No, I think it's awfully risky. You've dominated the game, and this is a turnover if you don't get it.
Marshall keeps it and gets the first down with a yard to spare. Quan Marshall has been stellar since the beginning of the season. Came out in that game against Tennessee with 5 touchdowns in that overtime loss. And he is proving here early in this game that he is not afraid of the spotlight.
He's calm and cool.
Has 1 completion today. That completion for a touchdown. On the toss, Green. He was lucky to catch that. Let's go back to Cassidy in the studio. All right, Cassidy, 2nd and 9 coming up from the 37. Miami leads the ACC in turnovers, but unable to force one here so far today. Marshall keeps it and is brought down almost immediately by Charles Perry. Gain of 2 sets up a long 3rd down coming up for Georgia Tech. Clinton Lynch going to come into the ball game for the Yellow Jackets. Tell you, this option offense is a real equalizer. It's different.
Yeah.
We don't see a lot of this, right?
No. And this is really the key. You get him into a 3rd and long here, you should feel pretty good about your chances, and you should be assuming that Marshall's going to try to get to the edge. That or rolling and throwing it.
Marshall on the toss, and they come up short. Cottrell got stopped on the gain of 3, so the Hurricane defense coming up huge. That's Michael Pinckney, number 56.
Well, Hurricanes dominated that inside. They clogged up everything quickly, got penetration, and forced Marshall to pitch it faster, sooner than he wanted.
Those linebackers for Miami, Quarterman, Pinckney, McLeod, they played a lot as freshmen, and they are really the heart of that defense. Here's Berrios, who had the big week last week in Tallahassee. A rugby-style punt, a high spiral, and Berrios makes the catch all the way back at the 11-yard line. 89 yards away after the 47-yard punt. 1st and 10, Miami, when we come back.
Back in Hard Rock Stadium, Georgia Tech leading Miami. Time now for today's Aflac trivia question. You guys ready upstairs?
Yes, sir.
What Pac-12 team had the most NFL draft picks in 2017? Pac-12. NFL draft picks in 2017.
2017.
U.S.
Gonna give you guys a hint after this play.
If it's one of the L.A. schools. 1st and 10. Worst starting field position by either team. The pass behind Comer, but complete. Well, tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 Pacific, ABC heads to the Coliseum to take on USC, number 13, Utah USC. Game also streaming live on the ESPN app. Yeah, I'm going to guess one of the LAs. I'm going to say USC.
Well, that's the easy answer. The assumption is always everybody gets drafted from USC.
Hey, man, I didn't go to Stanford, okay? Homer stopped up about 4 yards short. It'll be 3rd and 4. Homer running hard. And here's a look at the answer of our Aflac trivia question. What Pac-12 team had the most NFL draft picks? Utah.
Holy moly, Utah.
All right.
You know, Kyle Whittingham runs a great program
Yes.
up there, and it just doesn't get any attention. Nobody realizes how good he is and how many players he turns out for the league.
Shout out to Salt Lake City. Rozier on the move. Flings it. Out of bounds. Incomplete. Intended for Thomas. Harley also in the neighborhood. And another slow start this week for Malik Rozier.
Yeah, I think he has only 3 completions and probably 10 attempts so far. But remember, he started the same way against Florida State. He can be streaky like that, but he doesn't get down on himself when that happens. But you think about everything that's missing. No Richards at wide receiver, no Walton at running back. The big play guys are not there, and grinding it out and missing those easy passes is hurting Miami right now.
Georgia Tech going to get good field position here after the punt. Fair catch called by Stewart at the 40-yard line after the 41-yard punt. Hurricanes have been a second-half team, though. Back after this. Pass incomplete, intended for Brad Stewart. There's a flag down on the play. Looks like we got pass interference on Robert Knowles.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 20. 15-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
And Jonesy, this is the thing you hate about the option when you're a cornerback. All game long, coach tells you, you got one job, right? Man coverage, and it's option, run, run, run. And then that happens. You give up a big play or pass interference. Coach says to you, what's your job? Man coverage. Were you looking at your man? Yeah. Were you looking in the backfield? Yeah. Why? I don't know.
That's the way it goes.
Yeah.
Huh?
So your job, man.
They lull you to sleep with that other stuff.
And it's easy for your eyes to drift and your mind to drift and go, I can go help on the run play. No, you can't. Play your man coverage.
Stick to your job, and Marshall tosses it. Lynch has an alley. First down and then some. Pushed out of bounds at about the 32-yard line. Got a player down for the Hurricanes at the 40-yard line. That's Michael Pinckney, one of the cornerstones defensively at linebacker.
You know, Jonesy, he's part of that linebacking set of McLeod and Quarterman and Pinckney. That threesome makes a lot of folks think about the old great Bermuda Triangle set of the 80s and 90s.
And Chad Thomas there also shaken up on the play for Miami.
On about the 40-yard line there, you see Pinckney coming over, and he just doesn't get the runner and seems to hurt himself as he rolls over. But it wasn't as if he was blocked. Just an awkward landing, it looked like.
And we mentioned earlier, this Miami team already hurting in wake of that Florida State game. A bunch of guys, starters, not available as a result of that. And there's number 9, Chad Thomas, coming to the sideline, starting defensive end out of Booker T. Washington, local product. Problems mounting for Mark Richt when we come back. Well, we see Pinckney going to the sidelines. Shaquille Quarterman hasn't been on the field recently either. Smith and McLeod in at linebacker, along with Owens for the Hurricanes. 1st and 10, meanwhile, for Georgia Tech. The give is to Cavante Benson. Quint?
Yeah, there's a certain celebratory nature of Miami defense, the way they've always played defense. But when you're playing assignment football, it's kind of just like doing your job and on to the next play. And we haven't seen the guys in green been able to rally. It's just really that first series, been able to get up and show some emotion and bounce around and get this crowd engaged, because they're just focused on doing their job.
Or they're getting cut, Q, and you're on the ground. It's hard to celebrate.
Toss to the wide side of the field. This is Green. And Green pushed out of bounds, a loss of 1. Great pursuit by Jaquan Johnson of the Hurricanes.
Now that's the way Miami wants to play that. They want that ball to go outside quickly and then just use your speed and treat it like a sweep. The problem is when Marshall has time to debate and make a decision and you don't force the issue right away, it strings everything out. He's got an option inside. He's got an option outside.
Manny Diaz, you saw him there on the screen, the defensive coordinator for Miami. Usually a big blitz guy, but this is a different type of animal. Timeout on the field by Georgia Tech.
27 rushes.
Wow.
In this option offense, 1 pass tonight for a touchdown.
Not exactly balanced, Rod.
They don't need it.
But it's working.
They don't need it.
Kick off your Week 6 with NFL Sunday Countdown, 10 a.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. Streaming live on the app. Randy Moss ranks the best catches from today's college football action in the latest You Got Mossed. Plus, Desmond Howard joins Countdown, takes a trip to Kansas City to talk to Tyreek Hill and find out how the Chiefs have become the league's most exciting offense. Marshall back to pass, has time, and suddenly enveloped back at the 27-yard line. R.J. McIntosh, one of the first ones to get there, limiting that gain to just 2 yards. 4th down coming up.
Yeah, this is good defense, and they keep Marshall in the pocket. He looks like he might slip away, but look at the reaction. Look how quickly Miami gets reactions from Jackson and others inside.
So Georgia Tech, we mentioned, has had issues with their place kicking this year, and Sean Davis, 4th and 6, they're going to go for it.
Yeah, now this is not a surprise. I mean, Johnson hinted to us earlier in the week that this kind of situation, he wouldn't try a field goal.
On 4th and 6, trying to pass. Complete. And good tackling by the Hurricanes, who will take over on downs. Ricky June stopped up about 2 yards short of the first down by Miami.
Malik Young does a great job on the corner out there, hanging with this. You'll see him come back in and turn this inside. And because he turned it inside, that allowed pursuit from the inside to keep June from getting to the first down. So credit ought to go to Malik Young, number 12 out there, making that play turn inside.
And Joe Jackson right there, number 99, in on the tackle as well. He had a scoop and score in that victory over Paul Johnson's Georgia Tech team last year. Under 2 minutes to go here in the first half. Miami limited to just 6 points so far. And it's been a quiet afternoon so far for their leading receiver, Braxton Berrios, number 8, lining up in the slot to the top of your screen. The handoff is to Homer, who picks up 2. Alexander with the tackle. Well, coming up on the State Farm halftime report, Kevin Ngandi, Mac Brown, and Booker McFarland in the studio, getting you up to speed. From the 25, 2nd down for Miami.
Jonesy, good battle out there between Berrios and Austin. Lawrence Austin, number 20, and Austin's been winning it so far.
Pass complete over the middle to Herndon, the tight end. Keeping the play alive, and his forward progress is going to be about a yard short of the first down, a 7-yard pickup.
Yeah, if they want to move the chains, Berrios has to be involved. And right now, everywhere he goes, he gets shadowed by 20 Austin.
On 3rd and 1, Homer picks up the first down for Miami. Miami with 3 timeouts remaining, perhaps trying to get into field goal range and get an attempt out of Michael Badgley.
You know, their clutch guy is 8, Berrios. We keep talking about him. And if they're going to get something done in the last minute here, they got to find a way to free him up.
3 receiver formation. Rozier complete, and there's the guy we've been talking about the last couple of moments. Berrios with the catch. Lawrence Austin defending.
Yeah, he's the guy that can make the clutch catch, get you the 3rd down catch, move the chains for you. You need that now. Now, how does Georgia Tech continue to deal with him? Is it still Lawrence Austin's duty to handle him?
Berrios a 3.95 GPA in entrepreneurship. High snap. Scooped up by Rozier. Pass is caught miraculously at the 49 by Mullins. Wow. 10 yards and a first down.
Composure. He hurries, but he does not rush. Is Mullins' feet inside? Yeah.
Rozier just didn't pounce on the ball. He made something out of the play. Incomplete. Missed his man, Langham, who had the game-winning touchdown last week against Florida State. He only played in 2 plays last week.
Yeah.
His second one was for the game winner.
That's a pretty good average.
I'd say.
We talked about Rozier going down in Miami lore. Well, Langham is right there with him.
Performing under the watchful eyes of Hurricane legends here this afternoon. Michael Irvin, Ray Lewis, Gino Torretta, and a bunch of others. And a little movement on that right side of the offensive line for Miami. Corey Gaynor, number 65.
5-yard penalty. Still second down.
It's a momentum killer right there, Rod.
Well, Georgia Tech's defensive coordinator, Ted Roof, has done a tremendous job of keeping Rozier in the pocket and not allowing him to be athletic and run around and throw on the move by and large. And that was his goal coming in. Make him sit in the pocket. He knows he's a streaky passer. You know, and he would live with the big good streak, but if you can keep him in there and make him beat you from the pocket, he thought that was his best chance.
Yeah, Roof has, as you said, done a fantastic job. Long-time defensive coordinator. Been at several stops along the college football journey. And Miami going to call a timeout.
Miami. First timeout of the 30 seconds. Timeout.
Well, the good news, or the bad news is that last week they hadn't scored at all at halftime against Florida State. The good news is this week they got 6, Rod, if you're looking for bright spots. Well, Monday Night Football's Week 6 matchup has Tennessee taking on Indianapolis. Coverage begins at 6 o'clock Eastern Time on ESPN with Monday Night Countdown. Served by Applebee's. The game also on ESPN2 in Spanish, streaming live on the ESPN app. Your guy Andrew Luck has been on the shelf for a while, huh? With the Colts?
Yeah, bad shoulder.
Wow.
Been that way for a while.
Yeah.
They need him back. Not a good thing.
Talked about some of the legends on hand here today. Ray Lewis amongst them.
He's not putting a jersey on. They could use him. He has no trouble. He had no trouble when he played dealing with an option. Russell Maryland. They just knock guys around.
Warren Sapp as well. They had a Ring of Honor ceremony yesterday here in Miami. Rozier wide open. Langham with the catch. Still on his feet. And that'll make the legends proud. First down to Miami at the 22 with 29 seconds to go.
He's got to play more. All he does is deliver when he's on the field. Game-winning touchdown catch last week. Clutch catch here. And yards after the catch.
Rozier out of the pocket. Complete at the 18-yard line to Herndon, the tight end, with 16 seconds to go, well within field goal range for Badgley.
Well, you've got Langham at 6'4". We know he can leap. He's made plays. We talked about it the last time Miami was down here in the red zone. They used their 5'9" receivers for the fade route and not the 6'4". Q, what do you think of that?
Yeah, you know, Langham's listed at 6'4", 220. That might be on the lower side. He's enormous. And Georgia Tech secondary is not exactly Amazon's. They're in the 5'10", maybe 1 or 2 guys approaching 6-foot range. So there's a decided height and weight advantage for Langham. This is a guy who toiled in the practice squad in 2015 and 16. 4 career catches coming into this game today, but he'll go down in Miami lore for that game winner last week, and they'll put him here to the short side of the field where he's likely to attract man-to-man coverage, Rod.
Q, what about energy? We talked this week. We thought Miami might be ripe for an upset just because of all the pats on the back. You feel that down there?
I still do sense that, but I think this team in their minds knows what they can accomplish in the second half.
2nd and 5. Rozier coming back to the short side. Complete. Homer. Touchdown, Canes.
Shades of the man he replaced, Walton, catching the ball out of the backfield. Watch the effort at the end. The right hand extend the ball, left hand extended over the pylon.
Yeah, he hit it.
Yeah. I mean, that presence of mind, look at this, reaches it out to make sure he gets it inside the pylon. You're talking about a guy who has not had a lot of catches this year, has not had a lot of reps, but is showing you he is all football player.
Yeah, first career touchdown, and obviously the first of the season for Travis Homer. Had a chance to visit with him earlier this week at practice. A really engaging, warm young man, a business management major. And you talk about the legacy of players. They got a legacy of running backs at this school as well.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed touchdown.
You know, some coaches might be tempted here to go for 2 to tie it up, but I'm a firm believer, as I think Mark Richt is, you don't chase points like that.
Too early?
Too early. You wait until you get fourth quarter, or if it's a close game, late third, before you start going for 2. You just keep tacking on, act like you've been here before, like you'll get down here and score again.
Hey, this drive started with 1:59 left on the clock. 9 plays, 77 yards. Malik Rozier to Travis Homer. And the hometown crew smiling like Michael Irvin. So bright in here, he's got to put his shades on, folks. So the understudy, Travis Homer, the backup tailback, coming to life in the wake of the surgery to Mark Walton.
Yeah, you also saw Rozier start to heat up, and we talked about it. He can be streaky, and it doesn't bother him. It's almost like he's a basketball player, a great shooter. He can miss 6, 7, 8 in a row. It doesn't affect his confidence.
Just keep jacking.
Yeah, he comes right back with a big throw and catch with Langham, and then comes right back after that and gets Homer. So the bad throws have no impact on him at all.
1-point ball game in a series that has been leaning Miami's way over the last 8 outings between these two schools. Mark Richt has a pretty good record against Paul Johnson going back to his time at Georgia. Cotterill, and he's going to be brought down short of the 20-yard line at the 17 with 7 seconds to go. Rozier catching fire in the second quarter, 9 of 13. He was only 19 of 44 last week against Florida State, but he made the big ones when it counted.
Yeah, 0 of 4 in the first quarter, and Georgia Tech dominated the football, so he was standing on the sideline an awful lot.
Grew up a Hurricanes fan in the city of Mobile, Alabama, while his, interestingly enough, his sisters were Seminole fans. How did that work out? Taquan Marshall looking at 1st and 10 with 7 seconds to go. And they're going to run out the clock here and head into the locker room with a 1-point lead. Miami looking for its 5th win of the season, looking to remain undefeated. They trail by 1. Georgia Tech will receive the kick in the second half. The State Farm Halftime Report is coming up after this message, folks, and a word from our ABC stations.
Sports Sunday is sponsored by Lexus, who invite you to see, hear, feel, and experience. Near Winning Tree at 9. And Michael's nostalgic, so before your old man, hit by Craig Billy and Drew Essenau, saying good night from Seattle.
and same-day delivery. We made it easy so everyone can live like this.
And we'll start with the Dolphins' next opponent. That's the New England Patriots. Played at Buffalo today. After an incomplete pass, Tom Brady gets into it with his offensive coordinator, Josh McDaniels. Hey, Matt. Patriots led the whole game, but after Brady gets intercepted, Rob Gronkowski jumps on Bill Thorne for Davis White. Gronk was flagged, not ejected, but that's being the 23 years. Kansas City at the Jets. Jets lead 36-31. They go for two. Quarterback Josh McCown, he's in trouble, and he sails this one clean out of the end zone. But the Chiefs' Marcus Peters is called for holding. He doesn't agree, picks up the flag. For fourth all-time in yards, but the Rams beat the Cardinals 36-16. San Francisco played at Chicago today. Two bad teams. Bad news appears. Tariq Cohen feels the punt.
That's what they yell when we come around. This is your town when we want it now. How big is your army? 100,000. Yeah. If you want the rain, then we coming down.
Welcome back to the Dr. Pepper Championship Drive Game of the Week.
And welcome back, everyone, to college football presented by Walmart. Part of Dos Equis Tailgate. Miami trailing Georgia Tech by 1 as we get ready to start the third quarter of play. Hurricanes got off to a shaky start, Rod Gilmore. They were gashed defensively a couple of times, but a late offensive surge to end the first half, and they're right back in the ballgame.
Yeah, you get the sense that Miami is starting to get a little comfortable. You saw Rozier, find the range, throwing the football a little bit, and so that
onside kick. Sorry, Rod, did not go far enough, and Georgia Tech is going to scoop it up. Miraculously, incredibly, Georgia Tech on the blown onside kick scores a touchdown. Lamont Simmons, wow! They tried to catch Georgia Tech napping and got stung.
Sometimes you roll the dice, you think you have an advantage, and you don't. This ball is up high, easily handled, doesn't go far enough. They were waiting for it, but because you're waiting and standing around, Simmons alertly just picks it up and runs with it.
And the crowd here at Hard Rock Stadium in stunned silence to start the third quarter. You talk about gift wrapping a touchdown for the opposition. It doesn't get any worse than that.
Jonesy, the execution, horrible all the way around for Miami. First of all, you punch it up in the air, it doesn't go 10 yards, and then everyone is trying to stand around and wait for it to go 10 yards, and it's not going to move, and Simmons alertly recognizes he's got a clear field. That is as strange an onside kick as I think I've ever seen, where you've got guys with no sense of urgency standing around, not alert to the fact that Georgia Tech can pick it up and run with it.
And Lamont Simmons, number 6 there, it says, hey, you know what? I'll take this. I got somewhere to go.
A gift.
Wow.
Total gift.
Quinn, what happened?
Guys, the other thing, the mindset that Miami's been kind of intimating all week long is the number of possessions in this game will be less than they typically are. And I almost think that was a case where you were chasing maybe an extra possession.
But Q, why? You just ended the first half.
You had all the momentum.
You had momentum. You went in the end zone. You were starting to settle down. Why even take the chance?
Kickoff is short at the 9-yard line for Jeff Thomas. Thomas still on his feet. Thomas taken out of bounds near midfield at the 47. A good run back by Thomas on the kickoff. Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. Some of the cogent points so far in the first half.
Georgia Tech, 172 yards on the ground, and strangely enough, not much out of Marshall on this. They did get a touchdown from Green early in the ball game. They did a great job getting to the edge most of that first half, and then Rozier came to life in that second quarter, finished that last drive 6 of 7 with a touchdown pass to Homer. And again, that's what we're talking about. You end the first half on a positive note with momentum, and then you roll the dice with the onside kick, and it bites you.
Rozier, who was on a roll to end the first half, at the helm here, 1st and 10 from the 47. Keeps it himself and slides down for a gain of about 3 on the play. Let's go to Q.
It's about throwing and catching. The words of Mark Richt, who called Malik Rozier jittery. But he also said that that's been status quo in terms of some poor first half performances this year. He expects Malik to calm down and just do his job. That's what he's looking for here now in this third quarter.
Yeah, Q, we've seen him calm down. We've also seen him effective when he runs the ball, and I think we'll get more of that.
Little bubble screen complete to Langham. Langham trying to get to the edge, close to the first down before he's pushed out of bounds. And there's the long and speedy, lanky receiver we were talking about a little bit earlier. Had the game-winning catch last week against Florida State. Picks up 11 there. And a first down for the Hurricanes at Georgia Tech's 40-yard line.
I think they discovered in the second quarter that they can use Homer more. Not just running, but throwing to him out of the backfield.
Homer had his first receiving touchdown of the season. And that pass incomplete to Berrios. You won't see that happen very often. That's a clip and save if you want one.
You know, just a little bit off. You don't find Berrios dropping passes like that. With Jonesy, we talked about all the pats on the back. Remember the old song, be aware of the pat on the back.
Yeah.
Hold you back.
Yeah, it might be the case here a little bit here for Miami. Slow start once again. Homer on the sweep. Cuts it upfield, but stopped at the 37. Sets up a third and about, 7 to go.
Yeah, all week long the talk was the U is back. You know, what a great win over Florida State. What a great quarterback we have. Chance to get into the top 10. All that noise. And, you know, Rick said he tried to get his guys to focus on the nuts and bolts of defending an option attack and a physical game. And all the while, Georgia Tech was like, we gave you one last year. We are looking to get this one today.
Yeah, both of these teams coming in undefeated in ACC Coastal Division play. Rozier under duress and sacked back near midfield at the 50-yard line by Antonio Simmons.
Yeah, Simmons came on a bit of a cross. He started out on the right side, and you'll see him, you know, looping to the middle of your screen from the right side to the left, right up the middle, unblocked. A nice little stunt that they ran to free him up.
That's the 4th sack of the season for Simmons. And Miami's going to have to punt from their own 36-yard line. Zach Fiegels, after what started like a very promising drive. Stewart with a fair catch at the 18-yard line. First down and 10 after the 32-yard punt. Back to Miami Gardens after this.
Welcome back to Dos Equis Tailgate Week.
Welcome back to college football presented by Walmart. Part of Dos Equis Tailgate Week. Miami Gardens, Florida. Part of the Magic City. Great week here of prep and good to be home for a Saturday.
Clemson went down. Washington State went down. Miami is trailing right now.
Been that type of week for some of the higher ranked teams in college football. They give it to the dive man. Wymerskirch picks up 2 on the play.
You know, I still think that for Georgia Tech to be effective, they need Marshall to get going on the ground. He had 8 carries in that first half. No yards for your leading rusher out of the ACC.
2nd and 8. All that, and they still have an 8-point lead. Marshall keeps it. Nice gain for the first down. Let's go to Cassidy. Coach Johnson with that option attack at Navy brought it to Georgia Tech and having tremendous success with it. They give it to the dive man. Wymerskirch again picks up about 4 on the play, trying to lull you to sleep in that option offense.
You know, this is how you get frustrated. You know, you give up a cheap score, and then if Georgia Tech comes back with one of those long 5-minute methodical drives, wears you down, and they get another score, it just starts to wear you out.
On the toss, this is J.J. Green, and Green picks up another Yellow Jackets first down. J.J. Green is having a heck of a day here today, has 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing, 1 receiving.
Yeah, well, Miami has gone all in on stopping the dive and stopping Marshall from running. And Johnson has said, thank you very much. We will run our guys to the edge and take advantage of it.
Yeah, and Mark Richt told me, first of all, Rod, I asked him, I said, is that on the linebackers, the perimeter run game, or the safeties? He goes, no, that's on everybody. And that's kind of what Manny Diaz was emphasizing to us. You know, you stop the dive. If you can make the quarterback pitch or get the ball on the outside, we want to use our speed. And we want to run it down and make all 11 men get there. And that's what we think we do well, the speed.
Yeah, but
we haven't seen that today.
Your speed doesn't do you any good when your inside guys get cut off by blocks. They can't get to the quarterback. They can't get to the pitch because Georgia Tech is doing a good job of getting their guards and getting their tackles in and getting in the way of those linebackers who have to run from inside to outside.
And that's the strength of this offensive line, in particular the center and the left guard. And you'll notice, you know, Marshall, when he's behind center, you'll see that center in a 4-point stance, how high up in the air his butt is, and gigantic splits between the center and the guards create a lot of space.
Yeah, great shot of them right there. Good point, Q. Toss again, and this time the Canes able to run it down outside. Cottrell chopped down on the corner by number 28, Michael Jackson. Jackson got the start on the corner in place of D. Delaney, one of those injured DBs for Miami.
Well, Delaney is one of those guys that has years of experience playing the option. You know, coming over from the Citadel, he's out. And then you have Redwine out. You have guys who know how to play this, and you've seen some big runs today because of poor angles by guys in the secondary.
2nd and 13. Marshall back to pass, taking a shot, has a man wide open, complete at the 18-yard line. Knowles got beaten by Ricky June. When they get you, they get you big.
When Marshall is throwing, he's not throwing for a first down. He wants the home run. And there is nothing silly about this when you got a job, right? It's the option. It's lulling you to sleep. You know June is going to run deep. You got to get back. You just got to get back. That's Knowles, who was looking into the backfield and allowed June to get behind him.
1st and 10 from the 17. They give it to Weimer-Skirch. You know, Marshall had talked all week about the fact that he's very close to really breaking out, said that he's left some big plays on the field on some throws that he's just barely missed on.
He didn't leave that one.
No, he got all of that one.
I mean, he put everything behind that one and put it right for June. And, you know, you don't think of Georgia Tech receivers as being all that because they don't catch a lot of passes. But, man, have they turned out some guys who can catch it and play in the NFL. He might be the next.
2nd and 7. Marshall on the toss. Good tackling that time on Lynch. As the Hurricanes defense converged on him. They were led by Anthony Moten, a 5-yard gain.
Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, Demaryius Thomas.
Yeah.
So if you're a wide receiver, why would you go to Georgia Tech, though? You just wait for those big ones?
Well, you know, when you see that kind of legacy, you do go. That's
okay.
why, you know, a guy like June goes, you know what, I can follow in the footsteps of a Calvin Johnson, Demaryius Thomas. I mean, it worked out pretty well for them. Might work out pretty well for me.
Sure did. 3rd down and 2 coming up from the 9-yard line. Hurricane player shaken up. That was Michael Jackson, cornerback who made the stop a moment ago. 3rd and 2 on what is looking like one of those time-consuming drives by Georgia Tech.
And keep in mind that Johnson's not a fan of the field goal kicking situation he has. This could be 2-down territory for him if they don't pick it up.
Marshall keeps it and gets the first down. It'll be 1st and goal for Georgia Tech. First-year starter, former running back, switched to quarterback, was 3rd on the 2 deep, and has ascended to number 1. And his first true road start here, performing very well.
Yeah, he was not expected to be the quarterback this year, not expected to be the heir apparent. Took advantage of what was going on in spring when there were injuries, and he got it done, and now he's got a chance to give Georgia Tech control of the Coastal Division.
10th play of the drive. Toss outside to Lynch and run down as the Hurricanes string it out. That was Malik Young. And now that's the way that you talk about them wanting to play, right?
Yeah, you get that ball out quickly right now, and you just treat it as a sweep. And when you can do that and avoid being blocked inside, you just run it down. And they've got the speed to run it down.
Saw some of the greats from Miami history at halftime. One of the Blades brothers here being inducted into the Ring of Honor. So much history with this program, but right now they trail. Battle of 2 unbeatens in ACC play. Marshall looking to pass and sacked. Back at the 17-yard line. Zach McLeod there. And that is a huge play for Miami.
Yeah, McLeod came from the backside. Marshall never saw him. Marshall had a chance to let it fly and get it out of the way, but when he turned around, whoops, there was McLeod.
And Rod, you talked about the fact that with respect to place kicking, they've got some issues. So now it's not goal to go from so close anymore. They're all the way back at the 14. Marshall under heat into the end zone, and June running out of real estate, defended by Young. So 4th and goal. And if you're wondering about Sean Davis, their place kicker, that's not a good thing if you're looking to see a positive sign.
Ouch.
Ice on his knee. That's his left knee. Quint, what's up?
Yeah, Brenton King will take this field goal. Freshman walk-on, right-footed kicker, as Sean Davis hurt his left knee on that last kickoff for Georgia Tech. First college kick here, Jonesy.
There he is. King. Hey, no problem, Q. He drills it to give Georgia Tech an 11-point lead. Answering the call. Looking like a king.
College football on ABC, presented by Walmart, is brought to you by the all-new Type R, the most powerful Civic ever. from Honda. And Axe. Find your magic.
Look at some of the guys that gave rise to what we now call swag. The University of Miami football program pretty much invented swag. And you saw Michael Irvin, Ray Lewis, Warren Sapp, with some of the very luminous class inducted into the Ring of Honor at the University of Miami. Class of 2017. This year's version of the Canes down, though, by 11, 24-13. Thomas on the return, looking for an alley and brought down at the 25. We go back to Cassidy in the studio.
That was over a 6-minute drive for Georgia Tech. How many more possessions will you get if you're Miami?
They really shortened the game on you. The bubble screen complete to Braxton Berrios, who has been a non-factor here today, Rod.
Yeah, and that's a problem. They need him to be involved something now, because the next time Georgia Tech comes out, it might be another 6-minute drive.
Yeah, they'll eat up that clock on you. Berrios 3 catches for a total of 18 yards today. Wide open down the field, caught. Thomas! One guy to beat.
The need to do something now, they felt it.
Rozier answering. Homer with nowhere to go, stopped up at the line of scrimmage. It'll be second.
Thomas run it down.
See if they go to one of those tall receivers here, Rod. In the shadows of the end zone. Rozier lobs it up. Back shoulder. Got Harley, Berrios, and Jeff Thomas in as receivers here. Rozier tried to squeeze it in, and it was caught off the defender all over. Badgley in to attempt this field goal. He's 2 of 2 today. This one from 21 yards out. Snap down. The kick is good, and
go down.
Yeah, there have been a few shakeups coming our way. Petrell.
It's really matter. And if you've got those, you'll get ranked higher.
Miami is just on the cusp of that top 10 with an opportunity to move up with those 2 losses by Clemson and Washington State, but trailing Georgia Tech. That's Cersei on the run. Let's go back to Cat.
Huge. You know, you're still down 2 possessions. You know that Georgia Tech can control the clock. You got to get a ball back and get another possession quickly.
Marshall on the pitch. Good wrap-up tackle, but Green kept moving forward, and he's marked a little bit short of the first down, Q.
Yeah, Georgia Tech now operating without Cravani.
No more than 2 or 3 more possessions for Miami.
Yeah, no, they'll sneak this over the right guard. You're talking about 380 pounds, Shamir Devine.
Yeah, they go number 71. You'll watch him line up. Almost 400 pounds.
You can't miss him, folks.
Yeah, if they don't run behind him, we'll all be stunned.
Marshall on the center. And he picks up enough for the first down. And they move the chains with under 2.5 minutes to go.
Jones, you got 400 pounds coming at you. You're going to stand there, or you're going to get out of the way?
I'm moving. I'm done.
You're moving?
I'm falling down and making it look good on film for the coaches.
Yeah, you're getting crushed if you're in front of that.
That is a mountain of a young man right there. Shamir Devine out of Atlanta. 6'7", 380. Marshall keeps it and is tackled at the 33. Well, tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC. Utah heads into the Coliseum to take on number 13 USC. This game streaming live on the ESPN app.
Sam Darnold.
Is he still your number 1 quarterback off the board so far?
Yeah. Not a lot of folks talking about him for the Heisman, but you know what? You got 1 game in the Coliseum where he hasn't lost, and they got to get things on track. My guess is that he'll be lights out too.
Give me Bryce Love if you're talking Heisman. I'm sorry.
There you go.
On 2nd and 7, they give it to the dive man, Weimerskirch, and nowhere to go. First man through picks up a yard on the play. 3rd down coming up, but the question begs, can the Canes get off the field defensively? At what point do they start getting a little gassed, Rod? You think they've gotten there yet?
I think they feel it. They need to get off the field. You can see the heavy breathing right now. they do need to get this third down and get off the field and save possessions for the offense.
Well, they're used to practicing in the heat down here in South Florida. Temperatures reaching almost over 100 degrees with the humidity. Marshall going to take a shot, tipped and incomplete. The Canes almost with their first turnover. Jaquan Johnson had an opportunity but couldn't get there. But fourth down coming up.
Well, he had Cersei, but Cersei fell down. And if Cersei doesn't fall down, that is a catch and a first down Georgia Tech football. But he just lost his footing on the soft turf, and now Miami gets the ball back. Looks like they will get the ball back.
Braxton Berrios standing at his own 20-yard line. Presley Harvey, averaging about 45 yards per punt on the season, is third of the day. An end-over-end punt at the 23. Berrios cut down immediately at the 24-yard line. A 42-yard punt, 2 on the return. With 33 seconds to go, Berrios throwing a tire. Rozier trying to get the job done when we come back. The ball first and 10. They trail Georgia Tech by 8 points. Well, tonight on ESPN after the Washington-Arizona State game. Stick around for Sports Center at night. Stan Verrett, Linda Cohn with all the highlights and reactions from Dodgers, Cubs, Game 2 between the Yankees, Astros, Texas, Oklahoma. All the college football highlights and analysis also streaming live on the ESPN app. First and 10 from Malik Rozier. Complete over the middle to Langham. He of the game-winning touchdown last week. Working against Step Durham. First and 10, Miami on the 13-yard gain.
Do I dare repeat it? We've been asking to see him all day.
Big target, Rod. 6'5".
Big target, yep. And when he's on the field, he just makes plays.
Berrios, the slot receiver to the bottom of your screen. Rozier looks that way, but instead it's Mullins, and Mullins is going to be about 4 yards short of the first down, and that's the end of the third quarter of play. Georgia Tech leads by 8. Is there another fourth quarter magical comeback by Berrios and the Hurricanes? We'll find out. College football continues after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Ominous skies here in South Florida. It's about that time of the day, this time of the year. Starting to rain, but we're just kind of used to it down here. Mark Jones alongside Rod Gilmore. Quinn Kessenich down on the field. A lot at stake. Both teams undefeated in Coastal Division play. The winner of this one has a leg up, Rod.
Yeah, control of the division, and then also remember Miami with a shot to get into the top 10 with the win, considering what's happened this weekend already.
Miami with their 9th possession of the ball game. Rozier picks up the first down and into Georgia Tech territory. Cassidy, back to you. All right, it is really coming down hard. First and 10 after that 7-yard pickup. Rozier caught, and there's that man again. Darrell Langham, Rod, with another first down. 16-yard gain, and they move the chains.
Yeah, just a drag route. He comes up with another great catch on a highly thrown ball in the rain. You can throw the ball in the rain, Jonesy.
It got there. Homer on the carry inside the 30, down to the 26-yard line. Antonio Simmons making the tackle, Clint.
Absolutely pouring, as it has here in South Florida all week long at times. This one isolated cloud, and you're looking at a Georgia Tech defense playing without their 2 leading tacklers. Brant Mitchell, middle linebacker, has not played in the second half. Lower body. Lawrence Austin, the nickel, number 20, taken to the locker room. Looked like cramps.
Missing some guys. A gaping hole. Homer. Home run Canes. Homer with his 4th rushing touchdown of the season after earlier picking up his first receiving touchdown of the season.
Well, Q mentioned Mitchell and Austin being out, and they ran and blocked right where those guys would have been. And now, yeah, 4th quarter, you can go for 2. This is a good decision here. Down 2. Taking your shot now.
In the driving rain, Rozier over the middle. Incomplete, intended for the tight end. Herndon deflected by A.J. Gray. So the Canes remain 2 points back as we get started in the 4th.
You wonder what would happen with Walton out, and Homer has delivered another big play. But the 2-point conversion, a little rain, a little high throw, a little defensive play by Gray. Tech still up by 2.
Dr. Pepper Championship Drive, game of the week, and what a finish we're set up for here in Miami Gardens, Florida. Mark Jones, Rod Gilmore, Quint Kesselnick down to the field, and the block is hot. Petrell on the return for Georgia Tech. Still on his feet. And
out of there, created a huge play.
First down, Weimer-Skirch. Brought down by Shaq Quarterman, one of the leaders defensively, Quint.
This rain is a game changer for this option offense. They have got to keep the ball dry when it's down on the field. Marshall has got to be really careful in his mesh and his pitch, and this is just not what you wanted if you're a Georgia Tech fan.
Yeah, you know, Q, the rain helps Miami's passing attack and hurts Georgia Tech's rushing attack.
2nd and 5. Another tackle in the middle by Shaq Quarterman. Brought down Weimer-Skirch. You know, Quarterman told me that he got the guys to play mad all week in practice to get ready for this option. There's a look at the turnover situation for Georgia Tech, but doing very well in that category today.
Yeah, and you know, you wonder here, does Georgia Tech have the confidence to throw it in this situation in the rain? I'm guessing not. I mean, they don't typically run a lot of those short routes. I would imagine that they're more inclined to go to, you know, one of their edge plays here.
Ricky June is split to the bottom of your screen, number 2. Marshall to throw. It's a race to the sidelines. And the team coaches blow their knees out like that. High snap. But Georgia Tech is going to get the punt off, and a good one. Barrios watches it stop in the rain. Great recruiting class, ranked number 4 so far by people at ESPN, getting all the great players out of Miami Central, Booker T, Carroll City. 1st and 10. Rozier out of the end zone. Homer couldn't handle it. Take a look.
Having been down most of the game.
Offense had been dormant for most of the first half.
No!
Homer got a blocker in front of him. And a first down beyond the 30 for Travis Homer, making his first start of the season in place of running back Mark Walton. Picks up 21.
Yeah, they did a tremendous job on the right side. You'll see the block down on the right side, crushing everything and pull 2 guys.
Crying.
Now you got a huge effort to get to the edge. No edge support.
Out of the shotgun this time, Rozier keeps it himself. Couldn't get to the edge and pushed out of bounds at about the 33 by Lawrence Austin.
Not to go back to a sore spot, but you start the 3rd quarter down 14-13, and you try an onside kick if you're Miami. Yeah. Still, I wonder why. Yeah. That you gave away a touchdown. Gave 7 points to Georgia Tech when you had momentum on your side, and now you're in a game here. You'd like to have that play back all over again and say, no onside kick.
Really slow things to start the second half. 2nd and 8. Homer's rushed for 137 yards and trying to add to the total here. Puts his head down and some hard-earned yardage. Got a good block from Gauthier. Picked up 6 on the play. 3rd down coming up for Miami. Have to hang on to the ball.
tell you, the momentum, though, Rod, has really shifted to the Canes. This storm is Miami. This team is this city. These fans are loving the pouring rain, and this team is emboldened and energized by the downfall.
Third down and 3.
I love her.
Whistle and all start against the Canes, so it might change things a little bit. And one thing about the rain, it rains like this pretty much every day in South Florida, so these guys are used to it.
Well, and I think Q's right. It has given them some energy, but it's also helped the passing attack. Georgia Tech can't really rush the quarterback. When you get rain and you get bad footing, those big guys up front have trouble getting to the quarterback. It's easier for the linemen to push him around. So you would expect here on a 3rd and 8 or so that Rozier will have plenty of time to pick out a guy.
4 receivers out on this play. Miami has only led once when it was 3-0. Rozier escapes harm. Slings it. Berrios incomplete. Couldn't get there in time. The pass a little bit out of his reach. Went to his go-to guy afternoon for Zach Fiegels. And it'll go out of bounds at the 27-yard line. It rains like Miami's defense needs a play here. We haven't seen that turnover chain today from the Hurricanes. Marshall slipping and sliding and brought down at the 23 by Kendrick Norton and Zach McLeod. He's second and long.
He's been bottled up all day. Your leading ACC rusher doesn't have more than 10 yards rushing. 15 rushes for 6 yards today. We're talking about a guy who went for 249 against Tennessee.
2nd and 13. Got a whistle, and might have been a little movement up front on that offensive line, number 67. That's against Georgia Tech. Stickler. That's the first penalty of the day against Georgia Tech.
So you see the yards. Georgia Tech started out fast, picked it up in the 3rd quarter. Nothing here in the 4th quarter. They don't have Benson. Marshall isn't running it effectively. They are struggling to find a way to generate something, and at a 2nd and 17 with your option offense, that's not ideal.
All that, and they lead by 2. Marshall going to pass it downfield, nobody home, not even close, and it's going to be 3rd and 17.
That doesn't throw it that well, or that often.
In the rain too. Marshall almost sacked, escapes, and wisely throws it away. So the Hurricane defense rises. The entrepreneurship major trying to be enterprising here on this return, and a great punt by Presley Harvin. It bounces all the way down to the 19-yard line. That is clutch.
Got to catch those.
A 62-yard punt. Allstate has contributed millions in scholarship funds. 1st and 10 Miami from their own 19-yard line. Malik Rozier, the first-year starter at helm at quarterback.
Hey, Jonesy, they get a player back. Austin. Lawrence Austin back on the field. Need him, good tackler and a good guy to match up with Berrios. He's had a good day, but remember he left for a while.
They've kind of kept Berrios in check today. Berrios, the reigning ACC receiver of the week, had a couple of touchdowns last week. Only 3 receptions here today, and you can kind of see him at the next level. Rod, drafted by the New England Patriots, that slot receiver, that Danny Amendola type, Wes Welker.
Yep, very much like that. Very much so. Good routes, good hands, toughness, clutch guy.
We have a problem with one of the officials' microphones. 8:06 to go. They got the Rick Ross and Luke Campbell music blaring here at Hard Rock Stadium. That means
We'll keep expecting USC to take control over it, but wait and see.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Hey, Washington in Arizona State tonight. They got to be careful with all the upsets. First down and 10. Homer, a yawning hole, and Homer with a first down out to the 33. A.J. Gray, number 5. I love it when you tell everyone on the crew to pump our brakes. 3rd and 8. Kane's got to sustain the drive. Rozier's going to be sacked back at the 32-yard line with 6:12 to go.
Georgia Tech.
Eagles with the punt. Not a great punt. And it comes at absolutely the worst.
Your two primary rushers have not done much. 88 yards in the second half. Where does the offense come from?
Trying to close this out. Marshall keeps it himself, falling forward for about 3 yards. McIntosh making.
This is a really big second down for this offense.
Marshall. Toss. Boy, that thing was in the air a long time. The leading team in the ACC causing turnovers, Miami, has not caused one today. 3rd and 4 coming up for Georgia Tech. And we got a timeout on the field. And close this one out. Yellow Jackets just 3 of 11 on 3rd down conversions. Marshall into the boundary, lunges and gets the first down.
Yeah, you know, and I think Coach Johnson had that one in his back pocket for a clutch situation, because I'm not sure we've seen that play so far. A little misdirection counter by the QB.
The good coaches always save something for the fourth quarter on offense and defense.
1st and 10. Marshall sacked back at the 40s.
The ball, running it to the edge with the minimum of pitches.
Manny Diaz, Miami native, back home as their defensive coordinator, looking for his unit to get a big play here. Marshall going to tuck it under and come up.
A shot to get into the top 10.
Well, they got 5 of those trophies here. Looking for number 6. On 3rd and 8, Marshall. Over the middle. Incomplete. 7 right there. Harvin, the punter, has done a great job today, averaging 48 yards a punt. He has come up big for Georgia Tech various times, and now again, Rod, pinning them inside the 10-yard line, field goal range. He has a long of 50. Remember, though, in the last 2 drives last week, Malik Rozier did what he had to do. He got the ball into the end zone. Can he do it again? That pass low and incomplete at the 22. 2nd and 10. Berrios in the slot to the bottom of your screen. Langham wide to the top. Berrios on the bubble screen, got a block on the edge. First down out to the 22-yard line. Clock running with 2:12 to go. No time to waste for Miami. Another bubble screen, Berrios again. Lunging for the first down. Where are they going to goal post? First place in the Coastal Division on the line here. 2nd and 1. Homer picks up the first down at the 33-yard line. Berrios, tough footing on the outside, cuts it up to the 37. 2nd and 6. Another screen to the tight end, Herndon. And Herndon makes it out towards the 44-yard. Miami have another miracle finish in them. Herndon again. Giving him some yards after the catch.
Football from the ball boys on the sideline.
Yeah, Q, and they're trying to force Georgia Tech to tackle late in the ball game, tired and beat up.
Herndon again. Keeps those legs moving. Down to the 3rd.
Emotional week for those two guys. Heroes in Miami lore. A lot of distractions, a lot of pats on the back. And Georgia Tech focused, and could they get it done, or were they ripe for the upset?
2nd and 1 coming up at the 34-yard line. In field goal range of Michael Badgley. Berrios got it. Got a great block. First down inside the 30 at the 28. Mullins. Those receivers block well, don't they, Rob?
Yeah, you know, I'm surprised we haven't seen an adjustment from Jordan.
Why is that?
Well, he's 7-8 yards off, and they've had 4 bubble screens right in front of him, you know, to get a block and get yardage. At some point, you move your nickel back up, and you take away that throw by alignment, and they haven't done that.
So this pushes the ball all the way back to the 44, it looks like they're going to mark it. And no longer in field goal range.
Yeah, here's the lineup I've been talking about. You see where Austin is? And now he's moved up. But for so many plays on this drive, he's been 7-8 yards deep. Now he's at about 3 or 4 yards.
Rozier. Underneath, little contact. And no flag. Lamont Simmons right there, number 6, who had that touchdown off the onside kick earlier.
Yeah, it's a good play. Watch him get that right hand around, knocks it down. It's a good play.
3rd down coming up. And still not in field goal range. Homer with nowhere to go. Georgia Tech's defense coming up huge there. And it sets up 4th down with 41 seconds to go. Miami has to call a timeout.
Timeout of the half. 30-second timeout.
From last week. Give him a chance to go up and make a catch and get you a 1st down.
Berrios, the inside receiver, to the bottom of your screen.
I think your play is up there.
That's where they look. Taking a shot. Caught by Lamb! Another magic miracle by Miami! And in field goal range.
Well, that's the matchup. That's the one they needed. They should have been looking to. Now you have a shot.
And they spike it, stopping the clock. Rozier out of the shotgun. Homer got a block. Holding on to that football, and he gets another 1st down. The pile moving. 1st and goal, Miami. And they can afford to think touchdown here. First place in the division on the line.
First place, likely a top 10 ranking if they can get this done.
Here's a Georgia Tech player.
Brentavious Glanton, number 97, the injured Georgia Tech player. And with all the Miami greats and legends watching, like Michael Irvin, Ray Lewis, Gino Torretta, there's a little feeling of history here at Hard Rock Stadium. A huge comeback by this year's edition of the Hurricanes, just 21 seconds away potentially from the 4-yard line. It's 1st and goal, and the big play once again to Darrell Langham, a guy that has labored, has languished for 2 years, hasn't really been that prominent. But once again on the receiving end of a huge play from quarterback Malik Rozier.
What a 2 weeks he's had. Game-winning touchdown catch last week, and then a huge 4th down catch here to keep Miami's drives and their hopes alive.
5 catches for 100 yards. There's a look at the current drive. It started deep in Miami territory.
That man has ice water in his veins. Started poorly, needed 2 game-winning drives last week, got them. needed a game-winning drive this week, and he has calmly moved his team into position. Look what he's done, 8 of 10.
He is clutch. First and goal, here we go. And he puts it in the middle of the field. Looks like they're playing for the field goal here. He ran it right into the middle of the field for Michael Badgley, the field goal kicker, who with 8 seconds to go, this is pretty much an extra point attempt.
Timeout, Georgia Tech. It's Miami. Their third and final timeout.
Paul Johnson is going to try and put him on ice, though,
He wasn't.
as he calls a timeout. They've got 1 remaining. There's actually a Miami timeout. He's made 3 already today. From 33, 32, and 21. 5 of 6 on the year coming in. Quint?
Mark, they've got a drive football, which is ideal. The only thing you worry about here as a field goal kicker is that plant foot, because this turf has taken a ton of water tonight.
Yeah, it's been nasty down there, especially in the second half. From 24 yards out. For the win. The Hurricanes take the lead. The only other lead for the Hurricanes was at 3-0. Georgia Tech stunned on the other side of the field.
Good snap. Perfect kick.
Feeling like old times for the Hurricanes. That's a kick that Carlos Huerta would have been proud of. It's not the old Orange Bowl, but it just feels just a little bit like it. 16 plays, 85 yards. Malik Rozier, Captain Cool, Captain Clutch, using up 2:26 on the clock.
I don't think Miami fans can handle him doing this every week. Clutch. Last minute game-winning performances. Huge performance.
And they kick it off deep with 4 seconds to go. Patro. They're going to try and lateral their way into the end zone. An alley there for Ricky June. Still alive. And it's over. The Hurricanes come back.